Good afternoon, sentient beings. So I mentioned in my last video that I went to Asylum 12, which is a supernatural convention. I basically went to this to do something with my friend Connie, who's one of my best friends. We've known each other since secondary school. We have like one of those relationships where we don't talk for ages and ages, but then like we go to something like this and it's instant. We just fall back into the same pattern, and that sort of friendship is just great. Apparently, according to my mum, it's a school friendship thing. There's something about traumatic events that really just brings people together, I find, you know? So we booked this together like last year, and we, because it was held at the Hilton and Rogue Events gave us like a discount code for rooms at the Hilton, we booked everything there, which was really good in some respects and shitty in others, but I'll get to that. So I'm gonna cover like the negative things first and then the positive things, because the positives way outweigh the negatives. Negatives basically comes down to shitty things about the Hilton, organisation of the event, and just disappointment of Mark Sheppard. Really, I didn't really like Mark Sheppard. He was just kind of a dick at his panel, because each of the actors that were there had panels where they would, you know, get up on stage and just chat and like take questions. The other two things, organisation of the event itself, everyone who had been to previous Asylum events said that this one was poorly organised in comparison. It didn't really affect me so much because I hadn't bought any of the paid extras. Connie had, she'd bought photo ops for a few of her favourite actors, and everything was getting shuffled around and things were going over schedule, and it was just a bit of a mess at times, which was really frustrating for the people who had bought paid extras, which a lot of people had, obviously, because, you know, it's a convention and the fans go there to do these things. I should mention that I'm not a huge fan of Supernatural anymore. I used to be when I was younger, but not so much these days. I haven't finished the 8th season. I probably never will. But I enjoy myself nonetheless, you know. The third shitty thing was the Hilton, which, like I said, we'd booked all of this in advance and I assumed that Wi-Fi would be included, but apparently not. And the prices they charge for Wi-Fi are fucking ridiculous. £15 for 24 hours. £15 for fuck you, Hilton! Down the road at the Travel Lodge, it was £3 for 24 hours. That I would have been willing to pay. £15? Oh my god, I was so angry. I'm still angry. I wrote them like an angry letter, pretty much, in the "what did you think of your visit" brochure that they give you at the end. We kind of got the last laugh though, because I bought 24 hours for the Friday that we were there because there was nothing on and I had an essay to write, so I needed to do research online. Our internet was being really shitty, it was cutting out, so I called the help desk and she just gave us a code that worked for the whole time we were there, which was great. That was really handy. So, fuck you, Hilton, but also thanks, Hilton. Also thanks for the free breakfast. Breakfast was included, so it wasn't like really free, but it meant that I bought only one meal while I was there. Connie and I would make our sandwiches for the rest of the day at breakfast, basically, and just take a load of muffins, take a load of rolls, Baby Bells, that kind of stuff. It worked really well. The only time we had to buy a meal was on our first night there because we arrived too late, and there was kind of like a food court thing nearby because the Hilton connects to this food court area which connects to the train station which connects to the airport. Whew, Birmingham. Wow, big place. I say, having seen none of the city. The first night we got there, we were just stumbling around this food court area, kind of crying because everything was closed. It was like past 10 at night and everything was closed. And this cleaning guy came over and was like, are you okay? We're like, we're just real hungry. I guess we'll have to order something. And he was like, no. It's okay. There's a free shuttle thingy that takes you to the airport, and there's a Burger King and a Frankie and Benny's at the other end. Just go there. And we were like, thank you. Bless that person. Just continuing with the positives. Positives being the atmosphere. Because obviously it's a convention for a thing. Everyone has this thing in common. And it was just really cool. I'd never been to a convention before, so it was just a really neat experience seeing everyone into the same thing. You know, everyone had like shirts and bags and jewellery and, you know, stuff, you know, merchandise, homemade or, you know, store-bought. It was really neat. The costumes were really cool as well. There were 2 themed costume parties while we were there. The first one Connie and I didn't end up going to because we were too tired. It was London Underground Station themed, which I kind of wish I'd gone to in a sense, because how on earth do you interpret that sort of theme? I hope someone did Elephant and Castle. But the second themed party was zombies, so again, fairly easy, everyone can do a zombie. But there were some Les Mis cosplayers there, Les Mis zombie cosplayers. I got a photo. They were awesome. Also, I met 4 of my friends there, which was really neat. I'd met Robin and Quinn before, but I hadn't met Sophie and Alice, so I got a full friend bingo. That was really awesome, and meeting them in person was so cool. I love that. In stark contrast to Mark Sheppard's douchiness, Osric was my favourite guy there, and Amanda was, well, the only woman there, which is a representation of the female representation on the show, which she talked about a lot. I went to both of her panels and she wasn't shy about addressing that, really, which was great. Her panels were fantastic, and now I want to watch Stargate and Sanctuary, which are 2 other shows that she's been in. Sci-fi shows beginning with S. That's where you'll find Amanda Tapping. She was great, and Osric Chow was just adorable. He was so lovely. Unfortunately, Amanda Tapping's autographs were like a thing you had to pay for, so I couldn't get hers, but I got Osric's, that was pretty neat. Hers is the one up in the corner. I don't know what AP stands for. Misha Collins signed in gold, and the other 2 are AJ Buckley and Ty Olson. Those were the only 4 I bothered getting. So that was cool. I also bought 2 things, the only 2 things I bought, which were these 2 little charms, and one of them is a bird skull charm thing, which I think is pretty cool, pretty neat. And a tiny pentacle charm, which I'm going to put on my other hairpin as soon as I figure out how to take off the little charm thing that's already on there. Like, this one has a little bug on it, which I quite like, so I'm keeping that, but the other has a kind of goofy looking flower, which I'd rather have a pentacle. So that was really cool. The whole thing was just great in general. It was a good experience, and I'm really glad that I did it. Expensive or not, and, you know, internet problems aside, it was a really cool experience that I would definitely recommend. Also, Connie had the diary of John Winchester, like his journal, in paperback form. I guess that's a merchandise thing that you can get. And I read all of the, like, diary entry bits while we were there, and oh my god, John Winchester is such a terrible father. He's just such a terrible father. It's worth reading just for the moments where you want to put the book down and just cry into your hands for the Winchester brothers' lost childhood, you know? Like, they wouldn't have lasted long without him, because something was definitely hunting Sam, because at that point he was still like a chosen demon child. But wow. Wow, John Winchester. It was literally a manual of how not to be a parent. Boop, 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 boop. Ding!